are at the start of day 4. We did get rain all last night and this morning, so you can see I got a couple inches of water in my wetland filter. And if we come out, excuse me, Bub's gonna check out that water, huh? Yeah, he likes the pond already. You can see we got some wet clay there, saturated. Then we got some more water as we go down a little bit in the level. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to control the groundwater. Probably gonna have to put in some type of gravel drain or even a sump pit. We'll see. But since we're in a little bit of, little girl, you in the water too. Since we're pretty wet here, I don't want to make a big mess. So what I'm gonna do is work on the waterfall up here. This little section that's kind of cleared out is where the waterfall is going to go. So what I'm going to do is rake out the mulch and get that all cleared out so I can get kind of the shape and the size of the waterfall I'm looking at. Cut some of these plants back a little bit so they're out of the way. They're pretty much done anyway, just letting them go till the frost. And then I'm going to leave this yellow dahlia in as long as I can. But yeah, I'm gonna work around that dahlia. I'm gonna start getting my layout done and start getting an idea of what I'm gonna be doing for this waterfall here. I got my brother's dogs with me, little girl and Bub, and they're gonna just play in the mud the whole time, I guess, while I work on this. You guys gonna help? No, they're not gonna help. No Bub. Alright, it's a little windy, hopefully you can hear me, but I'm getting my top basin set in there, and that's going to be where the water is pumped into, and then that basin's going to overflow back into the pond, creating the waterfalls. But what I'm trying to picture here is the shape of everything. Got wet mud. This is going to get notched in to this line here. So it's going to be set back, that way it looks like the waterfall actually eroded the earth before it falls into the pond, trying to make it look natural. And then once this gets cut down to probably about 2 feet, because the flat rock's going to sit there for sheet falls. And I'm trying to make tall falls right here, like kind of a horsetail falls coming off the left end of this tub. And then the right end is going to be, I don't know yet, we'll see what the stones say. We'll just try and make a multi-tiered waterfall coming down this right side back into the pond. So from this little orange line here, I need to notch out that whole section, but my dahlia's in the way, so I'm gonna hold off on that. Plus we're pretty wet here and I can't do any heavy digging with the hoe right now because I can't get into this spot. That's real muddy here. And we still have to get rid of that fire pit so I can actually come in straight and do the work on this waterfalls. But here we go, we got the tub. This is just a pond liner from Lowe's. It's a 50-gallon liner, and I'm gonna use it as my biofalls technically. Down in here somewhere, I'm gonna be putting the bulkhead fitting on the flattest part I could find. But I'll put the bulkhead fitting in the bottom and the water will get pumped up into the bottom, circulate here. I'll put a media grate across the top here so I can put some stone, different size stone in here, and then fill it all the way up with stone. That way it'll bubble over and then fall over. I might have to notch out these edges to get it to actually fall out of the tub where I want it to, but we'll see when we get to that point. Right now I'm just trying to get it set so I can kind of see with my eyeballs what's going on, and I can design from there. This area here, it might look a little high to the rock, but we're going to actually build this up with some dirt. But I have to get all this foundation stone off of this side. I'm going to pull, I don't know, I might go an extra 3 stone or so. We want to redo this wall, and I'll be picking some of these stone to go into the pond. But yeah, we're gonna redo this wall, and I'm gonna pull out the stone in this section, build up the mound a little bit, and then reconfigure the stone around the bank here. So I think that's actually going to be a pretty good height for the waterfall basin, for the start of the waterfalls. Hopefully it'll make it look kind of like a natural spring in here with the plantings, but it's coming along. The next step is to get the transit out here, which we don't have a laser on the transit, it's just a scope, so it's a two-person job. So I gotta wait for a partner and not one of these guys, because these guys aren't working too hard, huh, bub? No, Pop, you're just trying to play. But they're not helping too much. Little girl isn't either. But they're here for moral support. So the next step, like I said, is to get transit, and that'll give me an idea how high I am. And then I'm going to start pulling out all these stone. We're supposed to get some heavy rain tonight, so I'm trying to limit what I'm doing so I don't make a big mess. Because once the rain comes, it's supposed to dry out after that, and I can get some work done. But so I might not get too much more done today. I'm going to try and pull out these stone, play with the puppies, and we'll bring it back on the next day. Welcome back to day 5. I think we're on day 5 or 6, and it's getting chilly. We just had that storm roll through yesterday, and it dumped a bunch of water down just like I was expecting. And it seems like I got my pond early. So the pond is filling up, which really is no good right now. You can see my wetland filter has probably 18 inches to 2 feet of water in it. There's almost a foot of water over here. So I'm up here working on the waterfall instead of down there in the mud. I don't really want to drive the hoe around and tear up the yard too much. I'm trying to keep a kind of a clean work site. So that's all full with water. So what I'm doing today is trying to open up the ground here around the waterfall so I can start building up this berm. I got this tub set in here almost level. I'm going to use some sand in there to get it finalized level once we get the transit out. But I lost my help with Bub and little girl, so it's just me and Pup today. And I'm going to start building up this berm around the waterfall by taking out all the dirt in front of the waterfall basin. So here's where we're at with the berm. Oh, puppy. Go, bud. Starting to build it up. Like I said, I'm not trying to build it up high. Just trying to get it just above that lip of the basin. Trying to keep it low profile and natural, looking like a natural spring popping up out of the ground here. The hole I'm digging out there is going to be the main falls, the tallest falls. So all this is going to get filled in with stone, but right now I'm just trying to work on the berm and the stones going around the outside. What I'm doing is digging out dirt from that area because I know I'm going to need a big hole there, and I'm just stacking it up in layers and tamping it in layer by layer, then setting the rock on top. I think it's working pretty well. It's going slow, that's why I'm not really doing a time lapse of this, because those 3 stone took about 40 minutes to put in. Yeah, right about 40 minutes. And I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to keep this one out, and that one I just used to get the big one in place. But this is going to be my next stone, I think. It's a nice long square one, but it's skinnier, so I'm going to have to build this up a little bit higher. I don't know, I might use a different stone here. That one's real skinny, and this is kind of the center top. I don't know if there's a better stone laying in this row already, because we are going to reorganize this wall here. But no, these all look pretty small. There's this one, nice like slate. I'm just gonna go with this one next. Has some good color to it. I'm just gonna have to raise it up a little bit higher because it's a skinnier stone than the one I just placed. So I'm just gonna dig out more of that hole and keep going along with this. It's coming along. Hopefully it's good because I didn't get the transit out to check. I'm just doing everything by eyeball. Maybe when my dad gets home this weekend, we can run the transit and see if I'm doing good or not. Either way, I'm going to keep going with this because the pond is pretty inaccessible right now. It's just a muddy mess. I'm going to have to figure out the drainage for that too. Alright, I'm going to carry on with this. It is the morning of day 6. You can see I got some more of that stone worked out yesterday before I finish for the day. I want to raise up that right stone just a little bit more. Try and make it look a little bit more uniform to the rest of them. But I banked that up pretty good. I had to fill this in to get it raised up. Hey puppy. Right there you can see I probably had to raise it about 8 inches, and then I'm tapering it back down on either side, just trying to hill this up a little bit. But I started digging out the front, threw that rock in there just to do some eyeballing, but it's gonna have to get pulled out, and so is that dahlia here soon. Yesterday I was bailing out some water before I finished just to try and get the level a little bit lower, and it worked pretty well. But for the wetland filter, I'm gonna have to use a sump and try and pump that out a little bit further away so it doesn't just leak back into the hole. This is going to be my biofalls, and I think it's going to have to get pulled back just a hair this way, and then I'm going to have to pull all this dahlia out. But first, so what's holding me up here is I need stone. I don't have all my stone yet, so I'm trying to just get everything set and ready so whenever the stone comes, I can lay the rubber down and get moving. I want to probably put some landscape fabric down, but the stuff I've been finding is pretty thin, and I don't know if it's even worth it. But today I am doing a company golf outing, so I won't be working on this morning, but I will be coming here afterwards and trying to get some things done. My dad will be home today, so I'll be able to have him help me with the transit and get a couple levels shot here so I know what I'm working with, and then we can get a move on. I gotta figure out that drainage system too. Hoping he has a good idea for it. I'm thinking I'm probably just gonna dig a ditch all along this out to a pit, kind of just like a French drain style. Just gonna have to give the water somewhere to go. From my research, I've been seeing that if you dig that pit, fill it with the drainage rock going out, the water will fill up just the same as it is now, but what will happen is the weight of all the stone and the rock in the pond itself and the weight of the water is going to push that groundwater into that drain and force it out. That might work, hopefully, but yeah, that's the plan. Because we got a lot of groundwater around here, heavy clay, and yeah, leach beds and seep pits don't really work here, as you can see. able to pick up some stone from my brother's property, some of the limestone, Pennsylvania field stone, and I'm starting to rock in now. And I put some sand in the base of the basin I dug out so I could get that leveled off. And then I laid the rubber in here, and now I'm just starting to set stone, trying to figure out where I'm going to have spillways and channels. Setting stone and starting to backfill around the liner. Now I'm not using fabric because I don't have it, so I'm just going with what I have, and I'm going to try and make it work. I'm starting to set some stone, I'm starting to tamp some and raise up the levels so I can get everything where I want it, and then I'll check it with a transit before I really start backfilling anything. This is where I'm going to be entering my basin with my pipe, 2-inch pipe, so I'm going to leave that open and accessible so I can still get in there. I'm not going to go too far with it until I have some piping getting ran in here, and probably get some lights to put into here, and I want to be hiding the wiring while I'm doing this rock-in stage. Up. Puppy's here next to the blooming dahlia that I haven't dug out yet because it's in full bloom. This is going to be where I stop on the end of day 6. I just started rocking in the waterfall, getting the rubber in, got the basin leveled off, and I got some rocks in place, starting to figure out how the water's going to be moving, and I like what I got. So the next step is to get the pipe in place. I need to get it in right through this spot before I set that next big stone. So I'm in a standstill until I get some pipe and a bulkhead fitting to get that connected up, and then I'll run that down right through the edge of the waterfall into the bottom of the pond and over to the pump in the intake bay. I'll also be adding some underwater lights inside the waterfalls here in different spots, and now is the time to do that so I can hide the wiring. So I will need to go buy some underwater lights and start positioning them as I see fit. But I think it's coming along. I'm just trying to see what kind of rocks I have and work with what I have. And then I'm going to need to buy some river gravel and river pebble to fill in some of the interstitial spaces. But I think it's coming along pretty nice. I'll need a lot of waterfall foam, but other than that, I'm enjoying the process here. So this is where I'm going to stop here for day 6, and we'll go from there.